Good afternoon and welcome to the Massachusetts Google Educator Group Google Plus for Social Learning event. My name is Jen Sheffer. I am the Massachusetts Google Educator Group leader, and I'm also the mobile learning coach and instructional technology specialist at Burlington Public Schools in Burlington, Massachusetts. And I'm really excited to be having this conversation today with two fellow Google fans, and that would be Kyle and Kelly. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves, and we'll start off with Kelly.
My name is Kelly Fitzgerald, and I am the Online Learning Integration Specialist in Leander ISD, which is just north of Austin, Texas. I'm also a Google Education trainer and a complete EdTech nut about everything.
You certainly are. That is your logo, right?
Yeah.
On your, I love it.
Hey.
Well, we're EdTech Nuts as well. And just if you're watching, Kelly and I met through the GAF PLN Twitter chat. And Kelly, if you want to tell the viewers a little bit about that, that would be great.
Sure. There is a Google for Education Twitter chat that happens every first and third Tuesday of the month, and it's between 8 and 9 p.m. Central Time, so adjust based on where you live. And we have different topics coming through. I do like to have a lot of different people come in and guest moderate or ask questions, and it has been a great turnout so far. So look for it. You can also search for GAF Chat in Google, and you can find the website there to get more information.
It really has been exciting to see sort of the Twitter and the Google Plus universes collide and bring, you know, more opportunities for professional learning, for personalized professional learning for educators. So I just want to quickly thank you for allowing me to be a GAF PLN moderator and also being a moderator of the Twitter chat. And that's kind of how this topic came to be. Is that was a really successful chat. I think there's a lot of connected educators using Twitter, and they're a little bit curious about Google Plus, and that's what prompted me to coordinate this event sponsored by the Mass GEG. So that being said, Kyle, if you could take a moment to introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Kyle Beatty. I'm a network administrator at Friends Central School, which is just outside of Philadelphia, literally across the street from Philadelphia. And I guess I've been in Google Plus since it launched, first with my personal account, and then when they made it available for apps accounts, I jumped in on that too. So I actually have 2 Google Plus accounts, which is a challenge to manage sometimes.
I can totally echo those sentiments. I think I have maybe 3. So sometimes when I do these events, which account am I doing it from? So yeah, we'll cover all that for sure. Next up is Lynn. I'm so excited that she's here. So Lynn, if you could take a moment to introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Hi everybody, I'm Lyn Hilt, and I am an elementary tech coach, and I get to work in 3 schools in Lancaster County and work with teachers on professional development and work with students with digital citizenship and work with admin, so it's a really great role. Before that, I was an elementary principal for 5 years, and that's kind of when I started on this connected journey. My first experience with Google Plus was the very first summer it came out. It seems like it was right around ISTE, 2012. Everyone started using it and getting into it, and it really wasn't a huge draw for me. I really didn't get it at that time. I didn't feel like I needed another stream of information coming at me. But over the years, I think it's really developed into something that I go to on a daily basis for information. And for me, what I'm excited to talk about today are the communities. That's when it really hit home to me that this is a really powerful platform for educators once I found and became involved in a number of great learning communities.
Well, thank you, Lynn, for being here also. And that's a really great segue really to the first topic that I'd like to talk about, and that is how Google Plus differs as a learning platform. And I could start with you, Lynn, to discuss specifically the community aspect of Google Plus, if you wanted to start off with that.
Sure. I mean, I've been using Twitter for connecting with other educators for many years, since, you know, 08, 09, and that is a very powerful platform in terms of making those initial connections and sharing out resources. But what I feel the power of Google Plus lies for educators is in that community base where you're bringing together people with those shared passions, the shared interests, and there's a greater platform for sharing different types of resources and organizing them all in one shared space. And you're not limited to 140 characters. You can allow conversations to emerge in the different post comment sections, and with the search capabilities you can really find just exactly what you're looking for. I started, when I shifted this role from principal to tech coach, I started a community for tech coaches, and I did it completely selfishly because I wanted to surround myself with other tech coaches who were already doing the work and who already had the great ideas to share. And thankfully it has grown over the last 2 years, and on a daily basis there are people simply sharing links that they've found or blog posts that they've written. But where the power is, I think, are that people will ask questions. They need help in some way, or they're looking for advice in some way. And within the hour, at least 1 or 2 people have responded and provided feedback. And I just think that it's become a haven for people, a haven for educators to go and find something that they're looking for. And I know other communities are exactly like that. So I think that's one of the great benefits of it.
So Lynn, can I ask you a question? Is that Tech Coach community open for the public? Can anybody watching this join it, or is that just within your district?
It's not within our district. It is wide open, but you do have to apply. You have to request to join. And I do moderate the community pretty heavily. And I do that because I want to maintain its sanctity. I don't want people coming in and spamming it with just their links. I want it to be a place that can promote conversation and dialogue. So certainly it's open for anyone to join, and I always take a look at the request. I look for what is their role in education. Are they legitimately an educator? Are they someone that is going to contribute to our conversations? I typically don't approve ed tech companies or any kind of vendors into that space, because I really want to, again, to be a safe space for teachers and for coaches particularly. So yeah, it's outside of our district domain. So I think if you search for instructional tech coaches, it might come up. So we can share the link with the resources, Jen. So
yeah, absolutely. It's one of my go-to communities. And I don't know, Kyle, I guess I could put you on the spot if you don't mind, because I feel like if we might be preaching to the choir here and some of the viewers, but I think I received comments from people saying they'd like to share the archive of this video with people in their district who may not be drinking the Google Plus Kool-Aid yet, so to speak. So we just talked about private versus public communities, and requesting to join a community, and maybe the structure of the community. And then, you know, one of the things I often hear is, you know, I don't get it. How does it work? You know, is it intuitive? What are circles? So I don't know if Kyle wants to cover some of those logistics as far as the sort of navigating through Google Plus.
Yeah, because I would say for the average person who just signs up for a Google Plus account, and then after they go through all the sort of the steps, and then you show up to your stream and it's just empty, and you go, what? I don't get it. You know, I think that's the first part people have to sort of get past. How do I find someone? Where is everybody? So sometimes you just have to search for somebody or a topic, and then add them to your circle. And then that's where it starts getting a little confusing for some people, is that circles are just ways to group people you want to follow. People who, you know, if you have an EdTech group of people, you can throw them all in one group of together, and anything that they write, you can see all their posts at the same time. And then if you want to just create a post just for your EdTech circle to look at, then you can, you know, target that content to the EdTech folks that are in your circle. So getting people in your circle is the most important thing to get started, just to see what's out there in Google Plus, because there's millions of users, but when you show up at first, you're like, there's no one here. So, you know, I think that's the initial I don't get it part. I think I answered that question. I'm not
Yes.
very sure.
Yeah, I think users need to realize that you come with your account comes with, I believe, 5 default circles.
Yeah,
Right?
like family, friends. I don't know. It's been a number of years since I got started. So I don't remember.
Acquaintances and some business, I think.
Yeah.
Right. And so what I've done is I just created a circle called PLN. So I kind of, you know, just put everybody in that PLN circle because, and it's small, and I like Google Plus for me because I feel like Lynn was saying, there's somewhat more, I think, camaraderie on Google Plus. Like if I go into Lynn's community, I know, and I pose a question, I know I'm going to get a response. I'm going to get lots of responses and lots of resources. So sometimes on Twitter, I think lately we're finding less of that sense of camaraderie, and you know, you pose a question and you're like, is anybody out there? You know, is any, and there's, like you're saying, there's so much information out there and you're competing for people's attention, and if you know, if you really genuinely have a need and you need help, I have found Google Plus to be my go-to place. And you know, Lynn's community, I think you're up to what, 30? There's 3,500 people in that community.
Yeah, there are registered, and I would say about probably 100 people who will regularly maybe check in and are the go-to people for responses. So there's a really cool, a good core group of participants, which is really important. And I have 2 excellent people who help me moderate as well. I think it's, like you said, you're looking for that value in the space, so you want to make sure the communities you're joining and the people you're including in your circles are people that are contributing to your learning. Otherwise, it just gets to be a messy stream of information, just
Right.
like a lot of other social networks. So taking the time to kind of groom that and build it. And like Kyle said, that's going to take some time. You're not going to jump in, start on day one, and have all this great information come your way. You have to craft kind of who you want in your circles, which communities you want to be part of, and then constantly refine that and reinvent that. But it does take a little time.
Absolutely. And the other thing I'd just like to mention too that I like about your community and also Kelly's community that you created is, and Kyle, you mentioned it, about targeting your posts. So there's subcategories. So for those of you who want to give this a try, you join a community, you can do a couple things. First, you can turn your notifications off. And you might want to do that, honestly, if it's an active community, because otherwise, especially if you use your phone as an alarm, which I do all night long, people will ding, you know, you'll hear those notifications going off. But you could find a balance with that, I'm sure. But if you turn your notifications off and you join and then you never go and use it, it's sort of the same as opening up a Twitter account and then doing nothing with it. You will never ever get either platform if that's what you do. But and then when you start to post, we can talk about different types of content you can post as well. In a community, you can have those subcategories. So with Lynn's community, I think the other day I posted a link to a new resource that I thought was pretty interesting called Chalk Up. So I was able to select the subcategory resources to share. And I like the way that a lot of different communities out there do have those specific subcategories. So is this a GAF tool? Is this about assessment? Is this about, you know, formative assessment? Is this about rubrics or whatever the case may be? So that's really helpful to know that, again, you're getting that quality information. And since becoming a connected educator, I mean, I use Google every day, but I'm using a lot less of just random Google searching and actually connecting with people, like Lynn said, people that already are doing the work and that I can learn from. So, Kelly, I don't know if you wanted to share sort of your Google Plus story and maybe talk a little bit about building that profile.
Okay. I am relatively a newbie in Google Plus. I am not been like Kyle and Lynn, where I started from the beginning. I did create a personal Google Plus account many years ago, but somebody sold it to me, saying it was very much like Facebook, and I am one of those people that I'm not on Facebook. I don't use personal stuff. I'll go on and check occasionally, but I'm not one to always look. And then we decided to turn it on for our staff here, and that's when I really found the potential, because I've always been a Twitter person. I've been on Twitter since I think 2009, using that as a resource for my professional. But since somebody had told me Facebook, I just had it as Google Plus was only a personal thing. I never saw it as being a professional social learning avenue. Until I got on and found, wow, this is amazing. Just like Lynn had mentioned, she wants it to be a discussion field, you know, and so when I found communities and being able to search and ask questions and people are answering, you know, you post on Twitter and your one tweet gets lost in thousands of tweets that are occurring, but when you post in a community, you have a better chance of somebody actually seeing it and responding, and that's where I have found many connections from people that, you know, I didn't know before. So that's kind of my Google Plus story. In our district, we're slowly getting people on, and we have several schools that have actually built communities for their school as a PLN. And that has been awesome, because it's getting the teachers to be able to share resources that they might not want to share publicly. Some things you want out there for the world to see, you know, and it's okay. And some things that could be just centered around a school focus. And so why are we sending it to Twitter where anyone has the potential of seeing it, and instead putting it in their little community that allows them. And so seeing the power of the teachers connecting through that has been great. So that's just kind of our little journey over here in Leander. And we hope to have more people connected soon.
Definitely. Lynn or Kyle, have you been using Google Plus for professional development in your respective districts, and how have you found that? How have your teachers embraced that? Or
well, we introduced Google Plus to our faculty last summer. I think it was the beginning of last summer, just before school let out, and it was centered around our summer reading, which was I think Y School at the time. And so we got a lot of people, at least in the community. We didn't get as much participation in the community as we would have liked, but they were at least there. So we have a full-fledged private community just for our faculty, and I tend to share a lot of resources, and someone else shares resources. Yeah, so we're trying to get more teachers to understand the power of Google Plus, but it's hard to get them the time to sit down and, you know, see all the resources that we have.
right.
So it tends to be a high volume of posting by myself and other people in my department, which is fine. But I actually want to not post anymore. I want the teachers to keep posting. I want the teachers to post. You know, even if it's the same content, I want them to post more than me.
Right.
Like, that's the whole idea. You know, I have a lot of eggs in Twitter from people at my school. I actually have faces in Google Plus, but I don't have any content.
Lynn, how about you in your district? So I actually think that we're going to start using it more with students than we are with teachers at this point. All of our teachers at the elementary level are on a master schedule, even across the building. So one of my goals for next year is to bring in this platform to have all 6th grade teachers touch base on a regular basis via Hangouts, because there's not often that time where we can get all the 6th grade teachers together face to face. But it would be nice for them, since they're all running the same schedule, and have the same planning period, to be able to quickly log in, touch base with the other teams in the other schools. Is there anything going on? What do we need to know about? What have you been up to? Just taking some time out of their week to do that. So that's one of my goals for next year, PD-wise. And then from the student level, what we're actually going to do is we have an enrichment teacher who visits all 3 buildings to serve kids, and she, again, is limited to being in that face-to-face setting with just one building at a time. So we're going to coordinate the schedule so that she can hang out, she and her group that she's physically with can hang out with the other 2 buildings and the groups at the same time, so that if she's doing a 6th grade enrichment activity, she can lead it via Hangout, and her group can be with her, but then also lead the other 2 buildings as well, and not need to do all of the kind of repetitive lessons. She could just do it all at once. So we're looking into that for this year, in the second half of the year, and we're pretty excited about that. So I do know that questions come up about students in Google Plus use, especially we're elementary level, and we're those groups who do the Hangouts with that teacher are going to be with an adult who at their own buildings who is going to take care of the account management. We build accounts just for this. They're not using their own student accounts. So we might call it like New Holland Elementary 1, like that might be the account name, and then the adults will handle the sign-in for that, because we don't have Google Plus access turned on for student accounts. So we're treating it more like academic groups and handling it that way, and with adult supervision. So I think it's really going to be powerful, and the fact that it can then be archived, and that if there were any students who were unable to be there, I just think that's going to be a really powerful thing. So we're looking forward to that.
I have a tip that you probably could use.
Okay, good.
You could probably use a Google Plus page instead, because a page can actually have a Hangout, can do Hangouts, and a page can have a community, and then you can assign managers to pages so that they can actually post.
Okay.
So that might save a little bit of management for a teacher.
Good, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I definitely like the idea of building the accounts just for the Google Plus. I had never really thought of that, and I think that is amazing, because we, like you, do not have Google Plus turned on for students, and so that's been like the teacher has to put it on, and then the student can get in front, and then monitor it that way. But having the kind of dummy accounts is a great idea, because I know Hangouts, some of our curriculum have started doing Hangouts with departments, and so they're seeing it professionally, and then teachers are like, oh, well, how can I use this with students? And they were like, well, we don't have it turned on for students, and then it's kind of like put a pin in that balloon and just deflate it. Oh, okay. And so I really think that I'm going to steal your idea. And of course, I have to.
I think the account, the fact that we are having the kids work with an adult, it makes me feel a lot better about, especially at the elementary level. If we're having 3rd graders log in, I'm not too keen on that. Just having them grab a Chromebook, log on, and do the Hangout. So I'm happy with that kind of arrangement where there's that main account that the teacher's managing, and then the group can be around. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It's great.
I obviously lost my network connection, so I'm sorry. I'm back. I mentioned before we went live that I should start a series of blog posts called Hangout Disasters, brought to you by Jen Shepard. I've experienced pretty much all of them right before going live, and even during the broadcast as well. So I missed, all I heard was you're stealing one of Lynn's ideas, so I'm going to just watch the archive and do the same thing most likely. But I gather that you were just talking about students using Google+. And I work with high school students, and it's been kind of neat for me to see some of my seniors who are getting ready to graduate start to add me to their circle, and I'm noticing that they're creating their profiles and, using the platform to showcase their digital identity in a professional manner. So I think they're curious about it too. But like you said, Kelly, it's I think all of us, when we initially got into Google+, we're like Kyle said also, where is everybody? I can't find anybody. One of the things I find myself doing occasionally is just exploring the different kinds of people that are using Google Plus. I don't know about you folks, but besides educators, there are a lot of really fascinating people in a variety of industries using Google Plus, and I'm a former business and marketing teacher, so I see a lot of content being pushed out in those areas, and I think there's just some really interesting things going on in that space. And I have Facebook, but I'm much more active with Google Plus and Twitter for professional purposes, and as much as I'd love to share what I'm having for breakfast, I often find myself just reading, what people are pushing out there. So other, tips for bringing Google Plus to a district.
Well, can I ask you a question maybe that you can touch on, kind of the elephant in the room, like we had started with students getting on Google Plus? Because you said you have your high school. We do not have any of our students on Google Plus or have the accounts open. How does your district deal with, and the reason ours are, straightforward, is the potential porn type inappropriate communities and things that they can get access to. We're kind of strict around in our district. How does your district get around that, or do you not have those restrictions? Or
we do for definitely the middle and elementary levels, and even for the high school. The students are not setting up the accounts with their school issued email, so they're using their personal.
Okay.
Their personal, and to be honest with you, I think it's a very, very small group of students that are doing it because it doesn't appeal to them. But they have seen me, some of my help desk students who have facilitated these conversations in Google Hangout on air. We host a show, Help Desk Live. So they've seen it and they see how I use it, so I'm modeling for them, and they don't post. I don't think they are really doing anything with it right now. So, we don't do it for the middle and the elementary levels.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else has experience.
Well, for us, we have it just for high school. I've never seen a student publicly post anything yet. I think our students are only using it if the teacher is using it with the community for their class. We have a couple of teachers that are, sharing resources, inviting kids to add pictures and things like that. So as far as, as part of the discussion for the class, we have an art teacher or photography teacher who is, having kids put their work up in their Google Plus community for that class. So, Google Plus is great for photos, so it's a great place to share your photos and have comments and things like that. But I've yet to see a public post from any student. So they may be sharing stuff with themselves, amongst themselves, and
right.
Probably not.
Probably not. I mean, they're out there in another place.
Throw it out there and say no.
Yeah, right. I know they're not, but technically you could, and I would not know. If you have your circles and you publish, you post something to just your circles, no one sees it but those people in that circle. So they could be, for all I know.
I think kids should be creating Google Plus profiles, especially at the high school level when they're getting ready to graduate. I think it's, they should have their own. I've been reading some schools are encouraging students to buy a domain. I have a senior that just did that. She wants to set up her own photography business, so she's, just taking the initiative to do that, and I think that encourages an entrepreneurial spirit and a professionalism that I think is going to distinguish students from their peers and make them highly competitive. And the one thing, too, I just wanted to mention is kind of not a very good transition here, but I really like the way, like Lynn and Kelly, we're all talking about how we're using Google Plus locally within our own districts. And so often you read about and hear about using these tools to collaborate globally. And I think we sometimes forget that, you know, you can use these tools to connect with people that are in a different building and that you just can't get to them during the day. And so I think that is an appealing feature for a lot of teachers who may not be sold on the whole, you know, I need to connect globally. I don't know, Lynn, do you find that people who are adopting Google Plus, are they also connected on other tools, or do they have that connected educator mindset, or are they
in terms of my local district, I'd say not as much. And honestly, we don't have a lot of teachers who actually took the time in their district account to build their Google Plus profile. The only ones that did, to my knowledge, at the elementary level are the ones who were in a training with me over the summer, and I showed them what it was, and we showed them how to interact. I feel like they get a lot of use out of just the Hangout, and not even this, the chat on the side. You run into a question, you want to quick shoot somebody a question throughout the day, and it's just right there, and it's readily available. So that's the kind of thing I don't think yet take full advantage of Google Apps in terms of mail and everything like that. We're still hanging on to Outlook. We're still doing a lot of that stuff. So we're not really like in it, you know. So I think these parts we're learning as we go and trying to find the best fit. But since we don't spend a lot of our time in apps aside from Drive, these things are like let's find good uses for them, and let's help teachers see the benefit and see how it could connect them to one another. Like you said, that first step, or connect our kids together, and then move beyond that. So we're getting there, but I think it's slow going, and sometimes it's that mindset, like, oh, that's just one more thing I have to do today, or one more thing I have to check, or, you know. So trying to spin it in a way that they're going to see that it's going to be beneficial to them. That's what we're working on.
Yeah, that's why you turn the notifications on, so whenever there's activity, or off. And so when we talk about schools that are Google Apps schools, or looking to transition to Google Apps, there are so many Google-based communities out there. I know there's a classroom community, so folks who are maybe viewing this, it's important to know that there is a Google product community out there. Classroom, I think, has 79,000 members. I believe there's a Drive community. So you don't need to create your own. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are already ones out there that are really, really active. And I tried last minute to get one of Google's top contributors. His name is Ziggy. I tried to get him in here to dispel the rumors that Google Plus is dying and it's shutting down, and it's not. And I really wanted him here, but I think he's like in college or doing something like that, like majoring in like computer science, or I don't know. But he can't hang out right now. But yeah, I think that's what I love. You can create your own, but there are ones that are already out there. So Kelly, did we talk about the GAF PLN, and how does that, from your perspective, differ from some of those other ones that already are existing? And I'm giving you a chance to plug it now.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Good job.
Do you mind if I share my screen? Because we've been talking about all these things, and maybe we can go on and kind of look at Lynn's and stuff. So I'm going to do a screen share real quick. And give me a moment.
And so if this video is being shown to anybody who's never seen maybe a Hangout live, that's one of the huge advantages of a Hangout, is having the ability to share the screen, and we can see Kelly's screen now. And
awesome. So we keep on talking about communities and Hangouts, and because I know a lot of people, when we were introducing it to our staff, and I'm sure this was all of you guys, they're like, well, how do I navigate? And it's real easy over here on the side to all the different things that we've been talking about. But since we're talking about communities right now, I'm going to go to the community section. And in here, I always leave this. No offense to Lee Webster and his GAG Central Bangkok community, but I have not joined it because I always like to show that if you ever have any community invitations, like somebody is going through and inviting you to a community, it's always going to show up here. And then on the right-hand side, we can search for a community. Like Lynn had mentioned that it's on one of my post-its here. Oh, instructional. And you can never type if somebody's looking at you, right? Coaches. So say that I want to find a community, like she was saying. If I search for the community, is it any of these at all?
Yeah, it's top middle. It's a little boy.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Great. So you can see actually all of these are asked to join, which is that's unique. Sometimes you can have just a join button, and we'll look at those. But the ask to join here, so when I click on ask to join, what it's telling me is the request was submitted, and then on Lynn's end, on her side, this is what she was saying, that she can now go through and kind of vet me and see, do I belong to our community or not? And I actually...
I just put you in.
Yeah, I just got a notification, speaking of notifications. So, and I am, oh, okay. So I like it because you can easily find communities. So if I go back to everything in here, oh, sorry, I'm in search. Go back to communities. I can now see, we're loading, we're going fast. These are all the communities that I moderate. So if you ever start your own community or ones that you have been invited to moderate, they're going to show up. And then these are all the ones that you've joined. And you can see I've joined quite a few communities. And you can also see I don't go to them all the time. These are the ones I don't have notifications. You can see there's over 99 things that I haven't read. The ones that you're active in are usually the ones that are highest and up in here. So to go back to what Jennifer was, or Jen was asking, the reason that we started the GAF chat, Google for Education PLN one, which is very new, I think less than 2 weeks old. We started it from one of our GAF chats on Twitter. One of the people that was participating during Jen's moderation of this topic was asking, do we have one? And we didn't, and I thought that would be a great idea. And the reason we started this one, which is different than, say, all these other ones, there's this one right here that has 94,000 members. That is big. It's huge. It's not all 94,000 aren't participating. There is a core group of them. But the reason we started this GAF chat one, which is different than the other main one, was because we kind of wanted to there is a core group of people that has started participating in GAF chat almost on a regular basis. And we wanted to take that and kind of extend the discussion from the actual Twitter chat, kind of like Lynn was saying she wants it to be. Now, it is less than, I think, or say 2 weeks old. We haven't gotten to that point of getting a lot of people. I know that Kyle posts and I post and Jen posts, but we only have 53 members right now, and I'm not looking for this to be a 94,000 member thing. What I'm looking for this to be is those that are participating to have that small, intimate PLN to go through in order to have time to continue the discussions. Because in the Twitter chat, it goes extremely fast. 6 to 7 questions are being spun out every 7 minutes, and you want to answer and have discussions on the side, yet you don't want to miss the other questions, so you're kind of torn. And this, I think, if I will do a better job, I think I now, from the Twitter chats, need to pose those questions inside of the actual Google community to get the discussions to continue. So.
Well, I think you're doing a great job, Kelly. And while you're there, screen sharing, could you show?
I lost you.
Hear me?
Yeah, I just lost you for a second. I heard, can you show?
Oh, could you show the where it says share what's new?
Oh, yes.
Kinds of content that can be shared.
Yes. So actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to go back to my home
Sure.
Because this will allow me, if you're in a community and you hit the share what's new, you automatically have to share within that community. But if you are outside in the home and click share what is new, you have choices, and this is where you can do well over 140 characters compared to Twitter, so that is nice. And then you can pull from your photos, you can do a link, a video, you can add an event, or you can do a poll. But when you are posting here, by default, these are the ones that come up for me. I'm going to get rid of these, and I can now choose who I want to see the post. So this is a nice feature because, you know, in Twitter, when you post, anyone who's following you or anyone who sees the hashtag that you attach to it sees that post. In Facebook, when you do a post, it's generally everybody who you are friends with can see it. Well, in Google Plus, it's kind of different just because you can add people to your circle and they don't have to add you back. With that said, I can still actually put stuff into their feed, which is a unique, confusing type thing. Because these are right here. I have 132 LISD people, and then these are the ones that I have. You said you had a PLN Gen. I have Rockin' Educators, Google Gurus, and Tech Educators, and then a GAF Chat PLN. You can tell what my focus is. I don't have anything personal in here. It is all professional related. So say that I had something I wanted to share. I could share it with the people that I have put in my Google Gurus circle, even though they don't have me in a circle.
Right.
So you don't have to add, but I can still share with them. And then I can go anything as far as to public, so anyone can find it when they're up here searching for things. And then if you scroll down, these are all of the communities that you're a part of. And when you post to a community, so if I do the GAF Chat one, before I can post, it's going to make you put it into one of those categories or subcategories that Jen was talking about, which is nice, so that I have to scroll and say, all right, well, this is a particular thing about Gmail. So I'm putting it in the Gmail discussion part of that community. So is that what you wanted me to touch on?
That is a great demo, and my apologies for not including that in the doc that I shared with you. Completely forgot about that would have been helpful to add, but yeah, that is an absolute great demo. And maybe if you want to show on the left-hand side, you can see that 11 new.
Oh yes, you said left-hand side, and I'm over here, my other left.
Your other left.
Yes, the 11 new, that means there's 11 new posts. So on Twitter, usually when you're on that one, the feed just comes through automatically if you're in like TweetDeck. If you're in Twitter.com, then you will see the same thing, the number, and that's really what it means. So if I click on 11 new, since I've pulled it up, these are 11 new posts. So you can see these are the people that I have into communities, into my circles, or people who have pushed it out. Now, looking at all these people, these are people, and these are great people that you should follow if you don't. And to stem back to what we were talking about before, how to find people, I actually find a lot of people by lurking at other people's. Mm-hmm. So Alice Barr, if I go to Alice Barr, I can find out who her followers are by coming down here, and I can see everything that she's posted that she's allowed me to see, because you can post to just communities, and if I'm not a part of that community, I'm not going to see it. But here in her circles, I can see these are the people, and if I click on this, it's going to take me to all. It's also going to show you who I have in common and then have her in circles. So this is kind of a great way to kind of look through people and see what are they posting, because you don't want to add just anybody.
Right. The other thing,
people that, you know, because I think that I feel like it's rude, like on Twitter, you know, people add me and I don't add them back, and it's not that I don't like them or I usually don't know them, but it's that I actually go to their Twitter feed, or in Google Plus, I go to their Google Plus feed, and if it's something that's not going to benefit my personal learning at that moment, I really don't want it to bombard, my actual post feed because I don't want to miss something.
Right. The other thing, Kelly, I'm just going to mention to viewers is when you saw Alice's profile, you could see that she was in more than one circle.
Yes.
So you can also do that. So you have a lot of control over how you build your network.
Yeah, so like I don't think that I have Lynn in mind. So here is Lynn right here. So if I click on Lynn, you can see I don't have her in a circle right now. I can add her to a circle. Now when I add her, she's going to get a notification that I added, but she's not going to know what circle I put her in. I could have a circle here that says I don't care, and I can add her to that, which that's not true. But she's just going to get a notification that says Kelly Fitzgerald added you to a circle. She's not going to see that I added her to an I don't care, and like you would have an I don't care circle, but that's just an example. So I can add her to a Google Gurus because I know she is, and then she's also a tech educator. So, and this is the newest one. You can see I only have 2 people in that one. So I can add her to those. So she's just received a notification that I have added her. So you can definitely add to all types of
right, and then you can create a new circle, create your own circle from there.
Yes.
And when you do get those notifications, so if folks are watching this and they're going to share this video with teachers, when somebody does add you and you get that notification, that's a good way to find people and to do exactly what Kelly just suggested. Look at their profile and what do they do for work, and where are they located in the world, and do you teach the same content area, are you the same grade level? And that's why I think it is important to complete your profile, because just like on Twitter, you don't really want to connect with an egg, and you want to know this is about community. So who are you, and where are you, and what are you passionate about? And like Kelly said, will you benefit me as a learner and as a professional? So I mean, I think it's important to include those details. And some people choose to share personal information, marital status, and children, and what have you, and then others keep it 100% professional, and then others blend the two. And I think, again, that's a great way to model for students, especially of all grades and ages, but definitely high school students. It's a good way to model digital citizenship. And I recently posted some pictures from a conference, and I went ziplining. I posted a couple pictures from that, as well as pictures from the TED conference that I was at. So I think modeling for students that it's okay to show you're a whole person. And I think, Lynn, you do a great example of that as well when you share pictures with you and your son. So I think that is a critical piece of education that is needed desperately in all grade levels, and for all students as they're going into the digital world, is they need those role models. Because we see it every day, kids not making good choices online. So every little piece of content that they share is shaping their identity, and I think we need to play an active role in that. So there's my little spiel on that. Yeah, and so Kelly, you're back on full screen if you want to show Lynn. We're just using your profile, if that's okay.
Yes. Sorry, Lynn.
And Lynn and Kyle, I muted you. I don't know if you can unmute yourself. I didn't do it on purpose. I hope you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, because there was some audio feedback. That's a different Hangout, but there was some audio feedback, so I just, in the control room, I did that so you can unmute your mics.
I would like to add another tip.
Please do.
So if you are trying to get your teachers involved or your other faculty involved with Google Plus, and when they show up, there's nothing there. I guess the first thing you should do is circle you, and then what you can do is, if you have a large circle of your PLN folks, you can share your circle with your faculty, and then they can add that entire circle of however many people are in it to their circles. Now they automatically get 200 people that they can follow with no work. And hopefully Kelly can sort of show that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here, what he's talking about, I'm in people, and that's where you can kind of define people, like we've talked about. And these generally going to be people that you have something in common with, or someone in common with. These are the people that have you in circles, and your circles right here. So if I have my Google Gurus circle, this one right here, if you capture this URL up here,
Well,
and
there's,
share
there's a
this
share
URL,
right at the bottom.
huh?
In the bottom where the the colored circles are. There's a share button right there.
Oh, right there, share. Awesome.
You got to add Kyle to that Google Guru circle.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm in that one.
I'm just going to interject really quick and say to anybody who's watching this that what Kelly is showing right now, I think I have 700 or so people in my circle. I have never added people to my circles the way she's demonstrating. Not to say that you can't do it that way, but I never have, and I have over 700 people in my circles because, like I think Kyle suggested earlier, you start off with who you know. So I started off with people in my district. I started with people I knew on Twitter. And then when I get those notifications, so-and-so added you to a circle, I added them back. And I only just recently discovered this people area because I just didn't really have a need for it. But this is definitely a viable way to find other interesting people out there. Michael has to be added to everyone's circle there. Michael, is it Fabiano? Or that's not his last name.
He's good.
I'm babbling. Yeah, he's good. He's
Michael Furcano? Yeah,
he's
excellent. He's actually moderating our next SCAF chat, which is April 7th. Small little plug right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, yeah, he's great. He's out of Hawaii. He also moderates the Hawaii Twitter chat.
Right. And what's great about, I think, the Connected Educator movement is that, like, all four of us, we're active on Google+, and we're active on Twitter. And, like I said in the beginning of this broadcast, it's great to see the two worlds merging more and blending more because I love Twitter. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll always use it. It's an amazing tool to connect with others and share student work, but I'm a talker, and I need more than 140 characters. And I mean, we could start talking about Voxer. I'm slowly starting to kind of get Voxer a little bit, but just to have no limits as far as what I can share and have those deep conversations is really important. So we have 3 minutes left, so I wanted to maybe go through each of you to give your final words of wisdom. Maybe we'll start with Lynn.
So for me, I mean, if you're just starting out, I would say, well, having someone share a circle of people is great. Sometimes that can be overwhelming if you're bringing too many people into a brand new user circle. So maybe if you have people that you can go to ask for maybe like 20 good people to follow, so you're getting a constant stream of really quality information that's going to meet your needs, and then just watch for a while, see how people are interacting, get to know the community, and definitely browse the communities portion of Google+. For me, again, that's where I spend the most amount of time in Google+, and really kind of watch and learn, see if it's going to be a good fit for you. Not every community is the same. Some are not moderated. Anything can go in. Others are a little different. So just find what works for you. And then when you feel like you're comfortable or starting to get comfortable, definitely give back, because the more people contribute, the stronger the communities can be. And if the people in my community just went there to read what other people shared, we would not have a community. The fact that they're being open and vulnerable and they're asking questions and sharing resources, that's why our community works. So it takes that kind of commitment and the contributions, and don't think that whatever you have to share isn't important enough. It's always important, and someone will be inspired by it and can use it for their work. So those are my suggestions.
Excellent advice. Kyle, what about you?
Let's see. I would say it's not as bad as it looks. You know, it can be a little over intimidating because there's a lot of options. There's a lot of buttons to switches and things you can turn on or off. So just be patient and really try to just go one step at a time. Don't try to do everything at once.
Good suggestions. And how about you, Kelly?
Kind of the same thing that they said. I tell people when they first start, two places: Hangouts and communities. Focus in there. When you get into the communities, and then you're able to kind of see the potential. You don't know unless you try. So, the people that say, oh, that's just not for me, give it 2 weeks, give it a month, make it so that you have schedule sometimes, say 10 minutes a night, or 30 minutes for the entire week to go on. Once you actually see the potential, you'll be sold.
I agree, and I think so much of this advice is very similar to what we tell people when they first try Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
At first it's confusing, learn the lingo, start small, follow quality people, but I think a key piece of advice is to give back. Like Lynn was saying, you can't just join, set up a profile, and then call it a day. And it does take time initially, but once you get the hang of it, I mean, I'm on Google Plus on my phone all the time, and there's such a misconception, I think, between that connected educators, we're glued to our phone and we spend tons of time doing this. All these things save us time. That's what I'm trying to, spread the message that, no, this actually, I can find a resource in seconds. What do you need? I will find it from a person, that's used it. You could recommend. So I appreciate your time, all three of you, for being here, and for viewers who have watched live, and for anybody who's going to share this video. I think it's definitely a valuable conversation to share with all the teachers in your district who are looking to use social media for professional learning. And that being said, I hope to have another Massachusetts Google Educator Group event in May, and I think it's going to be with Google Forms, so be on the lookout for that. And we're going to end the broadcast now, so thanks everybody for watching.